This is the Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral.com.
Good afternoon, Tuscaloosa, Internet World, West Alabama. How we doing today on this Wednesday? This is the Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral and BamaCentral.com. You're checking us out on BamaCentral, on YouTube, on my own Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube, or you're listening to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Amazon. We're coming to you live inside the Derry Daniels State Farm Studios for another edition as we inch closer and closer to the ReliaQuest Bowl. I guess that's our next big milestone on the calendar. Alabama basketball having a game tonight, and we will get into that with Mason Woods as he's in here with us, getting his way into the studio, getting his coffee, getting set up. No, it's Diet Mountain Dew.
It's actually coffee this morning.
Okay. We love it. We love the coffee. We are always team coffee on the Joe Gaither Show. We're looking for a great coffee shop. I'm looking at you, Strange Brew, 7 Brew. I'm looking at you guys right here in Tuscaloosa. Sponsor the program. But we have a lot of fun today. Talking more transfer portal nonsense. Who's going where? What have we heard? What do we know? What do we think about the destinations? Mason Woods. Oh, I should probably hit that button right there to make sure everybody can see my friend Mason Woods and follow him on the show at @MAWoods_. Mason Woods, one of these transfer portal announcements triggered a thought on the way over here. This morning, our listeners, our viewers may not have seen it, but it is updated on the BamaCentral tracker. Damon Payne, defensive lineman. He's from Michigan, so this makes perfect sense. He came down here for a couple of years. He's transferring to Michigan. Fine. Big box program. Go
Mason
get your
Graham
snaps.
leaves. There's a spot for you right there.
Perfect. My question, though, is was he just offered a spot so that Michigan and their coaching staff could have all the intel on this Alabama roster, on this Alabama team for the ReliaQuest Bowl, and they don't care about his snaps next year?
I certainly think that's a possibility.
No.
I don't think that is the only reason he is on the Michigan Wolverines or going to be a part of the Michigan Wolverines. I'm sure they wanted him based off of him being a talented football player and putting some good things on tape and like that. But I mean, to sit here and say that didn't play any role is kind of crazy. I'm sure. I certainly think Sharon Moore said, "Oh, Alabama defensive lineman. Well, we kind of need a defensive lineman. Well, let's go after that guy. He might know a thing or two." And I mean, if you're Alabama, do you have to change things up this week?
Oh, well, no, you can't change anything up. Look,
I mean,
considering how challenging offense was for you all year long, I think you need to go into the ReliaQuest Bowl just doing the best things that you got. Just rolling out with what worked for you this season. And there were definitely things that did work, but the just consistency was hard to find. I'm teasing. I don't really think Damon Payne was recruited to Michigan just to be a spy for a meaningless bowl game in Tampa.
I think he's getting asked about it, though, once he shows up.
Of course he's going to get asked about it. He's going to get into their camp and start working out up there, and they're going to say, hey, what did this lineman do? What did that lineman do? Now, he's obviously not eligible. I want to make that clear. These transfer portalees are not eligible to be in the bowl game. As our friend Abby is hanging out in the studio as well, distracting everyone. They're not eligible to play in the bowl game, so that's not really a factor. I'm totally teasing, but he will be asked about it. I think it is a good fit for him.
I think they're going to have him front and center, or he's going to do a whole PowerPoint presentation. He's going to be up there. Now, this is what this call means when they do. That's what it's going to be. He's leading the team this week.
He's the new Connor Stallion.
Yeah.
Connor Stallion is basically banned from everything.
Yeah, that's going to be his role this week. You're going to see him on the sideline. He's going to have a pair of binoculars,
calling all the Alabama signals. Ooh, that would be a little interesting. I wonder if he's paid attention enough over the last 12 months to learn all the offensive signals. Obviously, I'm sure he's up on the defensive signals, but it's going to be a little. That'd be a little challenging to learn all the offensive signals in a year.
I think
offense.
I mean, I think people, fail to realize just how much of their time is dedicated solely to what they do at their position within their group on the defense or on the offense. It's not like we're just having one big team meeting every day where it's just like, here's what everyone does. It's you go off into your groups, you split off. Yeah, you have your brief little get together, but you split off into your rooms. Quarterbacks go together, wide receivers, running backs, so on and so forth. So these guys don't really get a ton of insight into what the other position groups do. So yeah, maybe he can't really provide that much insight.
Yeah, he'll be able to tell you who the tough Alabama offensive
Yeah.
linemen are, but hey, you can see that on film. So like groundbreaking information. Mason, some good news for Alabama. Actually,
Yeah.
2 doses of good news after we concluded. We spent most of the first part of our show complaining about the Jaylen Mbakwe saga. Well, it seems like that saga officially came to end after our program. He did make Hayes Fawcett tweet the tweet that he's saying at Alabama, I'm back,
Yeah,
or
he hit
whatever.
us with the Leonardo DiCaprio, I'm not leaving.
Right. And Ryan Williams tweets all his stuff, and all the Ole Miss director of recruiting kind of deletes his stuff. They got to walk it back. I stand by a lot of what I said yesterday because I don't think we talked poorly about Jaylen Mbakwe at all. It did seem like it was a great monetary opportunity for him. It seems like I don't think that Alabama matched the monetary opportunity. I think that they were open to the possibility of him having a different role, and that being some on offense.
Yeah, I think so too. I think given, reading the tea leaves a little bit over the last 48 hours or so, it seems like I don't really think he wanted to leave Alabama. I think it was a situation where he was presented with an offer where it was, looking at it business-wise, you couldn't really pass it up. Now that Alabama, like we maybe think has countered with the opportunity for him to maybe shine on the offense a little bit, I think it just gave him that much more reason to, keep wanting to stay home.
So Jaylen Mbakwe stays. How many touches does he get in the Reliacless Bowl? Is it all right? Because
what role does he take? Do they just plug him in where Kendrick Law would have been?
Well, he gets all of Kendrick Law or Kobe Prentice's snaps, or both. I mean, you look at the depth chart right now for wide receivers. Yeah, Jeremy Bernard, Jalen Hale, Cole Adams, Jaron Hamilton. They're all kind of dinged up. Ryan Williams, Jaylen Mbakwe, Bubba Hampton. Don't know what his status is. Amari Jefferson, Rico Scott. That's who you got. So, like, he's competing basically with all the guys that didn't get snaps anyways. So,
yeah, it's a pretty wide open. I mean, it's pretty wide open for that, that third spot, that third and fourth spot, really. So I don't think it's all that crazy that he might get a pretty good
5.
I mean, 5, if not more, because we've talked about defensively. Maybe his time or his playing time will be a bit limited given just the situation, the people in front of him. Obviously, Keon Sabb's still dealing with the injury, but once he returns, that spot is going to be taken up by him. So maybe he just becomes a more offensive focused player. I think he still can play both ways and can be very effective both ways. But if he's not going to be a starter on defense, make him a starter on offense.
So that's going to be a lot of fun to see. And I do want to get into, after we talk about Kelby Collins, the actual numbers on the roster. Because, Mason, I think we're seeing, anytime you open up social media, and look, social media is never a reflection of how the world is or how it's actually going. So this is just another indicator of that. But anytime you open up social media, it's all the Alabama fans. The world, sky's falling, sky's falling, sky's falling.
College football is ruined.
Right. And I understand how you feel that way. Yesterday, over the weekend with the Jaylen Mbakwe stuff, I was feeling like, man, this is icky. And I still feel like it is icky. But we'll get into the numbers. I don't think they're as bad as people think they are. Before we do, though, Alabama's really biggest win of the day was, I mean, you could debate it was Mbakwe, but I will say that it's Kelby Collins. Getting Kelby Collins, defensive lineman from Florida, out of Gardendale High School. So he's an in-state guy who chose to go to Florida, been there the last 2 years, played in 18 games, 12 games his freshman year, 6 games this past year. He plays in 6 of the Gators' first 7 games. And I can't tell just by internet research yesterday if he got hurt. I don't think he did. Or benched. I think that's what happened. Or something else happened to where he just stopped playing. Basically, middle of October, he just stopped playing. So he played 6 of their first 7 games. And do you have something?
Well, I don't know if you came across this, but did you see that early December he tweeted out just kind of cryptically, "My story will be told"?
There you go. That's what I'm saying.
So-
We'll see.
What happened?
For some reason, that's the point that I'm trying to make. I don't know what that reason was. Whether it was, hey man, I stubbed my toe and it just hurt forever, or worse, injury wise, I have no idea. Or if it was, I just got an argument with my coaching staff, or school in Gainesville, I didn't agree, I wasn't jiving with it, girlfriend breakup, something. I have no idea. But he stopped playing. But I think that he's going to be a player that can come in here and probably play right away at your bandit position. We talked about it. You're losing Jamarian Latham to eligibility. Will you lose LT Overton to the NFL draft? I think the chances of that are at least 50%. You could argue with me and say maybe it's 40%, but I'm going to hold firm that he's got at least a 40% chance of going in the NFL draft. I think that really the chances are probably closer to 50, 55%. Yep. He's had a huge pressure rate this year. He's had so many almost sacks this year, and the film doesn't lie. So they could see that, and you may say, well, the sacks aren't that well. They see the pressure rates, and that's really what they're after at the next level. So, look, you're going to lose Jamarian Latham. You might lose LT Overton. Kelby Collins becomes, hey, man, I'm right there. Kelby Collins and Keon Keeley become your next two guys right there. And, you know, on paper, I feel great about those two options going into 2025.
Yeah, I mean, Kelly Collins is a guy who, coming out of high school, I was very, very interested in. A guy that, you know, I think Alabama was very, very interested. A guy that Alabama wanted on their defense, and he unfortunately got away from them, got to Florida, and, you know, had a solid freshman year. And then we don't know what happened this season. It seems like something strange maybe happened. Maybe it's completely, innocuous. Who knows? But regardless, he's in Tuscaloosa now, or he's going to be in Tuscaloosa soon if he's not already. And I really think he could be one of those guys that just kind of steps right in and becomes a difference maker. Alabama has seen transfers do that in the past, and he could be next in line to be a big time transfer for the Tide.
You know what else I like about him? He wore number 11 at Florida. That's my favorite number. Jahad Campbell in number 11 this past year. He swapped from 30 to 11.
30 terrible.
Seeing that 11 out there on the field, it just makes me happy. So with Campbell probably moving on, hopefully he'll move right into that 11 on the defensive line, setting the edge. Well,
I think it'd be pretty good.
That would make me happy. So that's what's going on with Alabama on the intake portion. One of our guys got the other destination that I wanted to talk about before we wrap up the transfer portal nonsense was our AI quarterback. Our AI quarterback, Dylan Lonergan, goes in the transfer portal Thursday, Friday of last week, some point over the weekend, and comes out. He makes his decision yesterday. He's going to Boston College. He's going to be with Bill O'Brien. Bill O'Brien lost his quarterback midseason. Well, benched Thomas Castellanos midseason, and Castellanos took his ball and went home. That was poor form. You get benched halfway through the year, and you say, I'm going, poor form. Anyways, he goes in the portal and gets Dylan Lonergan, who he recruited to Alabama. I love the fit. I think it's great.
I think they would be very good together. Boston College, not a ton of talent on that roster, obviously, but some good, talented players, and they brought in a massive class this year. I think 27 prospects total in the in the signing class. So, I think what he does will be very, very good for Boston College. He's not going to turn the ball over a ton. He's not going to play wild. He's going to probably really listen to Bill O'Brien and let him just coordinate the offense and tell him what to do. And that's probably going to be good for the Eagles because Bill O'Brien knows what he's doing when it comes to offense.
Boston College finishes the year 7-5, going to the Pinstripe Bowl against the Nebraska Cornhuskers. I think
they were tough this year. They started off good.
Dylan Lonergan turns that into an 8-9, not 10. 10 maybe with a bowl win. Not going to be a playoff team. We're not sitting here going to be crazy like that. But I do think that he lifts them up with good quarterback play. I think that's a good fit for him.
I think so too. I think they dealt with a lot of inconsistency at that position this year. Castellanos started the season kind of strong, but even then he wasn't really ever throwing the ball much. It was always just
Florida State. What are you doing? You're getting another transfer portal quarterback. That's fine, but you're gonna shop for a guy who can't throw the bleep in football and got benched in your own conference.
So that offense was limited this year with Castellanos at the helm, and they still managed to win some games that I think people didn't expect them to. They got off to, I think they were 4-1, 5-1 at the start of the season.
They had a good start.
Yeah, so put in a quarterback who's not going to do wild things and does have the ability to push the ball downfield very accurately at that. I would imagine things open up a little bit for the Eagles next year. I mean, they've got a tough schedule, but
who cares? I don't want to get in the minutiae of it. Good for them. Good for them getting Dylan Lonergan. Wrap it up with this. They're going to win their bowl game, get to 8-5, or they're going to go finish 7-6. They're playing Nebraska, Pinstripe Bowl, so right in their backyard. They're a 2.5-point underdog. That is on 12/28, so that's in 10 days.
I think they're going to do it. I think Boston College can do it.
B.O.B.
They're coming off the big win against North Carolina in the last week of the season to get to the bowl game, so I think they can do it.
All right, we'll see. B.O.B. Dylan Raiola and Nebraska back to bowl eligibility for the first time in ages. They had some curse over them where they were 5 and something for ages and ages and ages every year.
Every loss is a 1-score loss.
Oh, it's brutal. And Raiola comes out and says, I promise you, Nebraska fans, we will get to bowl. Well, great. We're going to the Pinstripe Bowl. Woo!
Hey, you know what? Nebraska still sells out almost every Saturday, though.
Totally.
And it's insane.
Good for them. They should.
I mean, I was not plugged into Bama football in their worst period, but, I mean, is it like that in Tuscaloosa? Would it be like that if we start to see, 5-6 loss seasons consecutively in T-Town?
Yeah, not going to a bowl game for, 5 years in a row?
Are they going to still sell out Bryant-Denny every weekend?
Well, the university will say that it's a sellout. The difference is the Nebraska butts are in the seats.
Mm-hmm. You see it every weekend. So shout out Cornhuskers fans. They are a dedicated bunch.
What else is there to do in Nebraska on a Saturday?
That's true. Not anything.
Shoot up steroids like you were in the 90s, winning 3 national championships in a row.
Oh, man.
Offensive linemen's necks are as thick as car tires. You're just running over teams. All right, so that's the comings and goings in the transfer portal. Let me tell you about Purple Turtle Roofing, and then I want to look at the actual roster, the numbers on the roster. I know the bowl game numbers maybe aren't so hot, but really, who gives a darn about the bowl game? It's just about getting these guys experience, and obviously, you want to play well, and hopefully you'll win for the brand, but who cares? All right, so let's look at these numbers after I tell you about Purple Turtle Roofing. They're the most reliable residential roofing replacement company in Alabama and Mississippi. Whether it's addressing leaks, storm damage, or general wear and tear, Purple Turtle Roofing is going to be there to deliver exceptional roof repair for your property. They're the leading expert in local residential roofing solutions, specializing in providing unparalleled service and quality craftsmanship for all your roof replacement needs. Call Dustin Foley and his team today at 877-PT-ROOF-5 for your free roof inspection. That's 877-787-6635 to schedule your appointment, and one of their qualified employees will come check out your roof for free and make sure you're prepared for any and all of life's storms. You can check them out online today at roofturtle.com. All right, we're hanging out with Mason Woods in the Derek Daniel State Farm Studios, right off of McFarland Boulevard. Oh, Mason, call Derek and his team, not Mason. He won't be able to help you. I won't be able to help you. No. Derek and his team. Derek's got a great team upstairs. Red Reeds and Victoria. He can send you up there. Mason can walk you right up there. Red will meet you right at the door. Call them at 205-758-3391 for all your insurance needs. Call and see how much Derek can save you today. Mason Woods, if I told you without looking, I don't think you have looked at it. How many spots are available to shop for this Alabama 2025 roster right now?
Just total,
just
to fill the scholarship limit.
How many spots do they have? How many spots could they fill right now and without being over the limit?
I am going to say they could fill 8 spots.
I think that you are paying attention to it, absolutely, just like a lot of Alabama fans are. 8 spots, not a bad guess. What if I told you that number is 1? It's 85, right? The scholarship limit's 85. Well, actually, I think that's moving to 105 because it's going to be a total limit. They're getting rid of walk-ons, are they not? How criminal is that?
Yeah, that's
So
sad.
really, you do have a lot of spots you could fill, but theoretically, on the traditional 85 scholarship limit, you have one spot to fill. You got 42 offensive players and 40 defensive players and 2 specialists. Scholarship-wise, 42, 40, and 2 gives me 84. 84 minus 85 is 1. So you're not doing bad at all. Now, let's look at this roster, Mason Woods, and you are young. Now, and you could see some changes as well. Start with quarterback. On the roster, Jalen Milroe, Ty Simpson, Austin Mack, incoming, Keelan Russell. Bam. You could
Feel good about that group.
Yeah, feel great about that group. I do. If Milroe comes back, you're riding the Milroe train again. The experience is going to win you another. Is going to
You're going to win anywhere from 9 to 11 games with Jalen Milroe as your starting quarterback.
Yeah, you're going to be in the college football playoff picture. Period.
Yep.
You can talk about winning it or not, and I can say whatever and concede to your debate, but you will be in that discussion. He can move on. That opens up another spot too.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, I mean, we've talked about starting quarterback. I'm
going to ride the Austin Mack train.
Yeah.
This offseason.
This is the number 10 show right here.
I'm going to carry we will carry the banner for Austin Mack if no one else does. I think he is being severely underrated by a lot of this Alabama fan base. He's maybe not being underrated, just being overlooked. I don't even think a lot of people quite realize that he's on the roster, realize why he was brought in. And I think he's going to surprise some people.
I think the obvious choice, people, Ty Simpson, he's waited his turn. That's the next Mac Jones, buddy. But I think Austin Mack might be more talented to leave on the bench, and you're gonna see him play next year. Now I could be wrong, and if I am, we'll diagnose and we'll talk about Ty Simpson.
I won't say a bad thing about Ty Simpson.
Right, as fairly as possible.
Yeah.
If he does great, we'll tell you. If he does poorly, we'll tell you. Just like I think we did with Jaylen this past year when he did poorly and when he did great. All right, running back. You got on the roster Jam Miller, senior Richard Youngs, and Daniel Hill are going to be technically sophomores. Kevin Riley got a redshirt freshman as well. You're bringing in A.K. Deer.
Feel great about that group. I mean, you got Jam Miller as your lead back. Continue to give him an even more expanded role maybe than what he had this season as the feature guy, and just let him get going downfield, let him get rolling in these games. Give him the Derrick Henry treatment, give him the
and your guy number 9.
Yeah, and then behind them you got my guy. You got Richard Young, Daniel Hill, Kevin. All of these guys, really, I love all of them. They're all so talented. I especially Richard Young and Daniel Hill, both of them in a role next year, similar to maybe what Justice Haynes took on this season, where he was the third guy, kind of clearly the third guy. I still think they'll be excellent. I feel great about the running back room. I don't have any issues there.
All right, so we go to your wide receivers, and look, I know you saw a lot of attrition. Right there, but you got Jeremy Bernard, you got Jalen Hale, Cole Adams, Jaron Hamilton, Ryan Williams, Jaylen Mbakwe. And then guys that got red shirts this year, Rico Scott, Bubba Hampton, Amari Jefferson, you're right there. And you're bringing in the New Jersey receiving king. And you can talk about New Jersey high school football all you want, but somebody who sets a career record in 3 years for something that can be done in 4.
Pretty impressive.
Lazio Brooks and Derek Meadows, big body Derek Meadows. Now, you might be bringing in Isaiah Horton. That's still kind of out there in the wind. Now that might be evaporated now that Jaylen Mbakwe wants to play a little wide receiver.
Who knows?
It's kind of
the transfer portal is ever moving, ever shifting.
But look at this room. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. You got 11 scholarship wide receivers.
Feel great about it.
You're fine. People talk about, man, you wasted Kendrick Law. You wasted Kobe Prentice. Look, I wish the best for those guys. Good fellas who always gave good interviews, but they're off to other pastures. You didn't waste them. It's just the way college football is.
Did you see that JoJo Earl has re-entered the transfer portal
from TCU to where's he going now?
No, he's not decided yet. But
Christian Leary was back in the portal.
I mean, you hate it for those guys that move on like that, but it goes to show you that the guys that do move on like that, don't worry so much about it.
Right.
It's okay.
Just pay attention. We talked about Jake Pope's in the portal. We talked about
Kite at Auburn back in the portal.
Antonio Kite. Sean Murphy, linebacker from Florida State, is back in the portal. Like all these the guys that you lost last year that you cried about. they're back in the portal again because it didn't work out
Yeah.
again. Like, it's fine. All right,
is
we keep
okay.
going. Here's your room. You might have some questions about, but I think it's going to be good. Tight end, Josh Cuevas, Danny Lewis, Ty Lockwood. You got freshman Jay Lindsey, took a red shirt, and your incoming Caleb Edwards and Marshall Pritchett. Okay.
I feel great about those 2 freshmen. I love those 2
You talked
freshmen.
about Marshall Pritchett before, but I totally forgot about Caleb Edwards in this class.
Awesome.
And when I read his name right there, it triggered me the articles that I wrote about him when he committed. Big-bodied
Freak.
athlete out of California,
I
right,
think
or
so.
Arizona, like an athlete, like a real receiver, like a real tight end receiver, like a CJ Dupree, like a super CJ Dupree.
Yes, he is the modern tight end, the new mold of, like your Travis Kelce's. Like, he's going to be a featured part of the wide receiving of the the yardage split amongst the wide receivers, because he is such a freak athlete. And then you mentioned my guy Marshall Pritchett. This guy posted a nearly 10-minute highlight clip of just blocking, and that's all you need to know about the guy. He's awesome. And on top of that, he has insane hands, a huge catch radius. He played at Rabun Gap in Georgia, led his team to a state title this year. I love him. I think he's got a great attitude. He just seems like a good all-around player.
Remember, we're still only at one open position here. I'm going to ask you a question when we get done with this exercise, Mason. Okay? We have one open position, maybe 2 if Jalen Milroe. All right? We're playing with maybe a bonus round, right? We keep going on offense. Tackle. Elijah Pritchett, Caden Proctor, Wilkin Formby, and Jackson Lloyd are your tackles. Little thin.
That's the
Playing left tackle, we're fine. You return your left tackle.
I feel a little bit concerned about that right tackle spot, and with the depth of the group as a whole. You look to right tackle; it was kind of a point of struggle at times this year for a lot of the season.
Kind of.
Yeah, kind of is an understatement. Trying to put it lightly here. But yeah, that was a point of contention for this Alabama offense, the right tackle spot. You bring back the same guys basically, and then you lose 2, Michael McVay and Naquil Bertrand, which I don't really know that Naquil Bertrand was going to do a whole lot this year. Miles McVay was certainly going to be in the mix.
By all reports, wasn't on the roster by mid-October.
There we go.
Kind of like maybe Kelby was gone. It was just not even there.
I think the main concern here is depth. Obviously, I feel okay about the starters. You just because of consistency's sake. I know that Pritchett did not play great this last year, but you get him back another year of practice under his belt, another offseason to get used to everything, and he'll probably be okay. But if he goes down, you only got a couple guys back there to back him up. If either of them go down.
All right, we keep going here just for the sake of time. Interior offensive lineman, you might get an extra spot right here, Mason.
Yeah.
With eligibility, Tyler Booker, Jaden Roberts, and Gino Vandermark are all eligible to be seniors. Probably going to see Tyler Booker be a first-round draft pick. That takes your 1, your 2, your 2 spots to maybe 3. All right, your 3 shopping spots now, because I think Jaden Roberts is coming back. We're pretty confident in that. I think Vandermark will be as well. Parker Brailsford's already said he's coming back as a junior. Alasa Lennon, Rock Montgomery as sophomores. You got Casey Poe, our guys, our class. Well, I love these 3. Casey Poe, Joe Ionata, and William Sanders. Those 3 guys all came on the show as recruits, and we hope they all have great careers. And then incoming, Michael Carroll, Micah DeBose, and Mal Waldrop, all on the interior offensive line. So your depth right there is pretty nice.
Yeah, I think you feel great about the interior 3 offensive linemen, left guard, center, right guard. I like really just about any of these guys to play just about any of those positions. I think they're all very talented. Whether or not any of them can maybe move to tackle, I don't know. Maybe to provide some depth, we'll see. But I
don't like any of these guys at tackle.
No, I don't love any of them. But it may have to happen. We'll see. But as far as just purely interior
Booker
offensive linemen,
this past year for a game, what a beast! God, Chicago, you mess everything up. And I know this.
he can come to Tennessee and get paired back up with J.C. Latham.
Ooh,
I'll take
you know
that.
what? I like that better for him. Just for his sake and his career, that'd be great.
Just 2 best buddies on the offensive line together. That's what they need.
So you're gonna have Parker. You're gonna have Jaden. You're probably gonna have Gino sliding into one of these starting guard spots.
I think you feel pretty good about it.
Yeah, and there you go. So you open up. You have 3 spots now. All right, let's flip it. Defensive side of the ball, defensive line. Tim Keenan technically has more eligibility, senior. James Smith, Edric Hill, Jeremiah Beeman, Isaiah Faga, not Faga, Faga is what I've been coached on. London Simmons and Steve Mbuamua are coming in as signees on the interior.
Nailed that pronunciation.
Mbuamua from Canada, from French Canada, French Canada. That's not how you say that. French Canada, French Canada.
He's French Canadian.
Thank you.
There we go. This is another group you feel pretty good about, I think. I like all these guys, especially if Tim Keenan. I don't know. I don't really haven't seen a lot on whether or not he's leaving or coming back.
I thought that he was out of eligibility.
I guess he has one more year left. COVID messed everything up.
Let's do it.
Yeah, if he wants to take that extra year, come on back, Tim Keenan, be the anchor of the defensive line like we all kind of wanted you to be this season.
Third-year James Smith.
Yeah, I think you
23.
feel okay about the interior defensive line, especially.
It's 21.
Yeah, close enough though.
That's all right. Obviously, you lost a lot. People talking about what you lost.
You did lose. You lost some talented players.
You're losing Jaheim Otis, Damon Payne, and Hunter Osborne to the transfer portal right there. But you're still fine here.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, you got 3 spots. You've got to fill them strategically. You can't just take all 3 spots and say, give me the best 3 wide receivers that are out there. Like, that'd be fun and all. Zachariah Branch is out there, but it's not going to play that way. Continue. A Bandit, LT Overton. You bring in Kelby Collins, Jordan Renaud, and Keon Keeley. You have signed Cavante Henry out of junior college. You lost Jermaine Latham. Now we're Mason. You're the judge, the jury, the executioner. Are we casting LT Overton into the NFL draft pile and making our spots 4? Or are we saying he's coming back for a senior year?
I have no inside knowledge.
Sure.
I just feel like he's coming back. I don't think that he is going to be a guy who's going to be a day 1, day 2 kind of player. So I would think that hopefully the people who are talking to him about these things would advise him to maybe make the right decision and return to college. So he could be a day 1, day 2 kind of player. So I think we'll count him as coming back.
And then how do you feel about that room then with Overton, Collins, Renaud, who also got snaps late in the season, and Keon Keeley?
I think you feel pretty okay. I think you feel pretty good. You're looking at
a loaded room.
Yeah, depth-wise, maybe a little bit of a concern, I guess, if somebody gets hurt. But even then,
that's a nasty room.
Yeah,
only one of them plays. Remember, only one of them plays at a time usually.
I mean, these guys are all brawlers, so I feel pretty great about this. Think any of them, you put them out there, and they're gonna wreak havoc on an offense.
All right, other side, the Wolf. It's really young here. Mm-hmm. 2 sophomores, Clay Rousseau and Yanze Pierre. And then you've got guys who took red shirts this year, and Noah Carter and Jay-Sean Ross. You're bringing in Justin Hill. Bad dude out of Ohio, apparently. 13, 14 sacks this year.
Yeah.
And was by all accounts unblockable at the high school level. Now, that changes, duh. But how you feel, Wolf?
I think this is another one you feel great about. You mentioned how young they are, and I think some people may look at that as a negative, but considering what you got out of Clay Rousseau this year, considering what I think the limited bit we got of Yanze Pierre, I think you feel great about these guys stepping into their next year in this defense. And then you mentioned Justin Hill. He's a little bit more on that slender kind of speed rusher type, a little bit more finesse, but get him in the weight room, get a little bit more LBs on him, and he is going to be a problem. So, yeah, this is yet another position that when you really boil it down, you feel pretty good about going into next year.
All right. So what did we say? We said we were at 3, right?
We're
One
3.
position, and then Jalen Milroe and Tyler Booker gone. So we're at 3 spots. You move to the linebacker interior spot.
Mm-hmm.
Jahad Campbell and Deontay Lawson both have eligibility remaining. I think you're saying sayonara to number 11.
I think so, too.
And I think you're saying welcome back to number 0. I was going to say 32, but no, number 0, Deontay Lawson after the injury here.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
And so that gives you that opens your spot to 4 as the dog wants to jump over my lap, and that's A-okay. So you're okay. Continuing, Jeremiah Alexander, Justin Okoronkwo, Caden Jones, also a former Joe Gaither show star, Sterling Dixon, and QB Reese also appeared on the show. So we love the inside linebackers. And then you're bringing in Luke Metz, Piri, Daryl Johnson, and Abdul Sanders. You're losing Justin Jefferson to graduation. And I guess Jahad Campbell. So now we're up to 4, but how do we feel? Lawson off a knee injury. We don't know.
Yeah.
Let's count him kind of in the gray area.
Sure.
You probably look, Okoronkwo, I think, is a future star. Coming in from Germany. I don't know. I'm concerned about Jeremiah Alexander.
Mm-hmm. I think this is the first position where you maybe look at it and you think, okay, maybe we start to look at what's out there. Maybe we start to look at what you can bring in experience-wise, guys who have, played a little more at this level of college football. Maybe you look around, guys transferring from other SEC schools who have a good taste of what it's like. I mean, all that to say, though, I still don't feel horrible about it. I like Deontay Lawson. I like Deontay Lawson. I like Jeremiah Alexander. I like Justin Okoronkwo, like you said, a guy who has not played a ton of football, but in the little amount he has played, he has showed a lot. So
I think
get him on the field and he will
athlete.
produce. Yes. I still feel all right about it. Yeah, this is probably the first one, though, where it's entering that territory of, okay, you maybe need to consider your options that you have.
Two more positions as we continue here on the Joe Gaither Show. Cornerback Deshaun Jones and Amani Jackson are both eligible as seniors. We'll let Mason decide if Damani stays or goes in a minute. As sophomores, you'll see Xavier Brown and Jaylen Mbakwe, maybe, sort of. And then your incoming cornerbacks are Dijon Lee and Chuck McDonald. So Mason Woods, we have 4 shopping positions open. Are you sending Damani Jackson into the second round of the NFL draft and giving us 5 shopping positions?
I don't know. I think I'm going to keep Damani here. I think Damani maybe stays for another year and tries to become that top end, like I'm cornerback 1, draft me with a top 5 pick. I think he can do that if he gets another year of college football. So I'm gonna bring him back, and with him coming back, I think you feel really amazing about the top end of this cornerback room. It's a little thin, maybe behind those guys.
A little thin.
So this is another one where you want to maybe look to the transfer portal to bring a guy in, maybe even 2, who knows, to service some depth pieces, service some rotational pieces. But then the freshmen coming in, Chuck McDonald, Dijon Lee, both absolute studs. So Dijon Lee, we talked about earlier in the week, a freak, freak of nature, like designed in a lab to play cornerback. The guy's 6'4", as long as can be. He has like tentacles for arms. He just reaches out and sucks balls in. Oh wow. Pause. But I just think you feel good about this team. You feel good about this cornerback room. I don't know who's on the market, but maybe you just go get a guy who's not necessarily going to be pushing Damani Jackson, Deshaun Jones, Xavier Brown, but just a guy who can be a depth piece.
I would go back to the very back end of the defense. The safeties, you got Keon Sabb off an injury, coming back for a junior year. Bray Hubbard and King Mack. Your sophomores, Cam Howard, Red Morgan, Zay Mincy, Drake Kirkpatrick Jr., and you've got a freshman in Ivan Taylor enrolling. You've lost, obviously, Malachi Moore to graduation and Devontae Smith to the transfer portal. But you got, what is that, 4 and 3?
Yeah.
That's eight guys.
You love these safeties, I think. I love these safeties. I think they're all very talented. You obviously saw what we got from Bray Hubbard this year. You saw what we got from Keon Sabb in a little bit at the beginning of the season. I think King Mack can step in and continue to be a good player. You saw Red Morgan get some limited time here and there, and I thought he was great. I don't have any complaints about this room. I don't think this is one where you really need to go to the transfer portal and look for depth. I mean, like you said, you've got 8 players. I feel good about Ivan Taylor coming in, son of Ike Taylor, NFL legend. So I think you're pretty happy with where you are safety wise.
All right, Mason Woods. So there we go. There's your 84. Well, I guess you got to throw in the 2 specialists, James Talty, kicker, and Alex Asperov as well, punter. That gives you 84. And so you have 4 4 places to shop in the portal. It's limited. People have been talking about, what's DeBoer doing? Why is Kalen DeBoer not going after every player in the portal and this guy and that guy? And look, you got to be strategic here. You have basically 4 spots. You might have 5, depending on what Damani or LT Overton does. Yeah. But Mason just brought both those guys back for next year. And, I mean, that's what you want, the experience. You want them back. But you don't have the room to just go suck in Johnny 5-star and Billy 4-star, and you don't have the option.
You can't just reach out and be like, best player available. Come on, best player available. Best player. Like, you have to pick and choose the players you want to bring to your team. And we went through and listed it. There's not a ton of positions where you really need to do that.
Tackle. Go get me a tackle. And here's the issue. The positions that you need to go shop for are the positions that everyone's shopping for.
Yeah.
So tackle.
Yep.
Defensive line. You want another depth piece to go along with Keenan, James Smith, and Edric Hill, right? You want another experienced body in that room. And then interior linebacker, probably.
Yeah.
Your interior linebacker, you can probably go get one of those guys. Not going to be that expensive. Not probably that competitive of a market. And then here you go. Corner. Corner's going to be an extremely competitive market. Because think about football for 2 seconds here. What do? You protect the passer. You pass the football. You rush the passer. You defend the pass. Those guys, those are going to be.
Those are your like pillars of football.
Right. This is the now obviously run the football. All that applies. You run the football. You stop the run. You win the trenches. So you need a tackle. You need a defensive lineman. But everybody and their mother needs a tackle and needs a defensive lineman. That's why a bum like Bear Alexander gets another opportunity at Penn State because, hey, man, this guy looks big and he's been good when he flips his switch. Like, everybody's going after these dudes. So there's not a whole lot of, well, let's just go, Now, you can tamper if you want to.
And we don't know,
I think that's going on heavily in a lot of places. I think Alabama's roster has been tampered with when it's very clear when Damon Payne goes in the portal, announces his portalee entry at middle of the day on, I guess it was early on Tuesday, and announces his destination early on Wednesday. It's very clear something's amiss. But it's a very difficult game here.
I mean, I'm looking at just cornerback here, and not to mention, I mean, it doesn't tell me exactly how many, but I've been here scrolling for 40 seconds, and I'm still looking at players, like list-wise. So hundreds of players in the transfer portal. None of them, just off of, what they did last year, the little bit I can see here in their star rankings, things like none of them are like jumping off the page. Oh, we got to have this guy. So it's all that on top of you have to sort through this talent, some of which is not real talent at all because there's a reason they're transferring. So it's just like, just take a deep breath. It's okay. You don't have to go land everybody.
I think Kelby Collins is a good get. Do I think he's going to be a superstar next year? I'm not going to say that because I think that there's a reason that Buddy doesn't play the back half of his second year at Florida. And whether that's on him or on Billy Napier or on somewhere in between, there's a truth to that.
His story will be told.
Story will be told, and we'll hope to hear that story. But seriously, I think that that's a case in point of like everybody that you're shopping for in the portal right now is a bit of a risk. Everybody's got some sort of a gray mark, some sort of I don't know about that guy. Why is he leaving his school? Why is he leaving his second school? And so for everybody who's watching the portal over these, I guess it opened last Monday, and it'll be open for another 10 days or so. Ugh. Shoot me in the face.
We got to get rid of this.
Well, the December window is a real pain because of the college the play. Like, it's not fair. These guys, you should open it right after the playoff. Right after the playoff for 30 days. Just pair it right. Just throw the coaches into massive chaos and say, "Hey, man, no early signing date anymore. February signing day.
Transfer
portal opens on January 20. You got 10 days of portal to deal with.
I mean, honestly,
signing day.
That would be like the best way to do it. I think how many coaches would prefer that probably
give me because 10 days of straight to my eyeballs portal and roster management and last minute recruiting.
I have to absolutely lock in for a month and a half recruiting my tail off. But then the rest of the time, I get to focus on football. I get to focus on the X's and O's. I get to focus on Michigan this week.
And I know it's because of semesters. We got to get them re-enrolled for January 6th, January 8th, January whatever, whenever they start this January semester.
Yeah,
I get that, but like, you can't have a little bit of all these big time colleges have academic advisor staff and academic support staff, and thank the Lord, I've met a handful of them in Alabama. They're great people, but like, they can't help them catch back up those 2 weeks if they're really transferring.
I mean, come on. Every year they have the shortened semesters over the winter, over the summer, where you cram in 6 months of work and do about 6 weeks of work.
Sure.
I think there's something that could be done getting these kids caught up with the first few weeks that they maybe missed because they showed up to campus at the end of January as opposed to the beginning. It's a very, very non-forgiving schedule.
So, Mason, the point of this whole discussion and outline of the numbers for 2025 is to essentially say that Alabama's fine. Kalen DeBoer, everybody's talking about, you're sitting on, oh, finally you got somebody in Kelby Collins. But, like, there's not a whole lot of room here.
No.
Actually run the numbers.
Mm-hmm.
And I do. Did you find, is the roster bumping to 105 scholarships?
Yes. So it looks like it's bumping to 105 total players, whether that's scholarship. It's 105 players. I think you can just kind of use it as you wish. It can be up to 105 scholarships, or you could have.
Put them on?
That's what it appears to me.
Oh, that's a huge difference. And so if you, because if you do have that, that'd be 21
Yeah,
spots.
the adjustment allows schools up to 20 more scholarships, expanding opportunities for athletes across Division I programs. So, yeah, you have
then you
105 spots.
You do have a lot more, and that presents you a different issue with making guys happy and opportunities. How many guys are you going to bring in here? Because how many mouths, how many guys are going to get on the field? Because we just went through the roster as well, and you don't have that many starting spots open. You got starting quarterback. Ooh, going to be really juicy. Cannot wait for that battle. Yeah. You got maybe third wide receiver. Is Cole Adams going to bounce back from his from his injury and take that job back again, or is it going to be Latia Brooks or Bubba Hampton or Rico? Like, that's going to be an issue. What's going to happen at these couple of tight end spots? What's going to happen at right tackle? What's going to happen at left guard? You don't really have a whole lot of opportunity to crack this roster if you're in the portal looking for playing time.
No, I mean, I don't even really. We just sat there and went through it. You expand a roster by 20. What are those guys going to do?
They're the walk-ons. Because
it just allowed you to.
The old limit was 120. Yeah. So you're cutting the walk-ons by 15.
Yeah.
Is basically what you're doing. And you're, I guess, opening up the opportunity to put 20
hoard more talent.
Yeah, half of them on scholarship.
Bring more guys in that will just transfer after they don't play their freshman season. That's my issue here. Is like, this is not. I understand it. This is the crux of this argument. Is like, we want to be able to sign more talent to scholarships and things like that. But if you can't use it, with the way the system is set up, they will just be gone, making all of this null and void essentially. But I mean, all that to say, Alabama is perfectly fine right now, transfer portal wise, roster wise. There's no real issues here.
So let's move on to tonight's action before we close down the show. We're in the Derek Daniel State Farm Studios. This is the Joe Gaither Show. You're watching us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube right here on BamaCentral and BamaCentral.com. We appreciate everybody who has subscribed to us on their favorite podcast platform, Spotify, Apple Podcast, or Amazon. You can just search the Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral, and it'll pop right up, and you can be one of the many subscribers on a podcast platform. We're in the Derek Daniel State Farm Studios. Abby's licking my ear off. You can call Derek Daniel and his team at 205-758-3391 for all your insurance needs. Call and see how much Derek can save you today. I want to move to Alabama basketball tonight. Man. Mason, do you have CBS Sports Network? I got to find it.
No, but I think I'll be able to maybe locate it.
I think I'll be able to find it as well. But not a good night for the non-technical. If you don't have the expanded cable package,
and for anyone for anyone who's not maybe internet savvy, that's going to be a bit of a tough night.
I guess you could. It's not that. What is it? Second or third level package? I guess probably for the CBS Sports Net. I got basic cable at the house. I just want to watch Raw and SmackDown Mondays and Fridays. Give me that, and I'm good. Alabama tonight. I'll be able to find it 8:00. 24.5-point favorite, and that number jumps off the page until you go to Mr. Kenneth Pomeroy.
Oh my!
Mason Woods. How many teams are in college basketball?
140 something.
No, not 140. No. How many teams are in Division I?
Oh Lord,
364.
No, I'm way off. Shows what I know.
Yeah, because there's not really that division between FBS and FCS anymore. Basketball, it's like all conglomerated together. 364. Okay.
Dear Lord.
Where is North Dakota in Ken Palm?
Let me just guess.
Yeah, that's what we want. We want to guess.
They are 287.
Oh, we wish they were 287. They're at 302.
Oh no!
They're 4-8 in the Summit League.
Oh.
They are, what is that? That's the offensive category. So they are 223rd in offensive rating, and they are 346th in defensive rating. Their adjusted tempo is 157. So they're going to go a little slower right there. And I guess their strength of schedule is at 230. They're 4-8 on the year. Summit League got a decent little guard. I think is averaging 12 points a game. Our man Hunter DeCyver was talking about that yesterday as we were talking about the game. But really and truly, this is the Grant Nelson showcase.
This is the Grant Nelson day. This is let Grant Nelson handle everything tonight.
What do you think about a coach that says, all right, this doesn't fit my philosophy?
It's awesome.
They're a bad team, but it's 90 minutes from one of my seniors' hometown. We'll schedule them. We'll go 1,300 miles. 1,300 miles. We'll go to, they said it's going to be 5 degrees up there. Now, granted, we're playing indoors. It doesn't matter for the game, but it's just the experience.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? Says about a coach? I'm going to go totally against my philosophy of scheduling really hard teams. 302 in Ken Pop.
I think this is amazing. I love this so much. Nate Oates, and I think he even said it, you got to do stuff for your guys. You back your guys up, I think this is just a great message to send to not only the team that you have now, but to anybody who wants to come to Alabama in the future, maybe from far away. I love this so much. It's such a feel good story. If for anyone who does not know Grant Nelson, sorry.
Grant Williams, former Tennessee player.
Grant Nelson, 9 siblings. I think all of them are going to be in attendance of this game. So I love it so much. Like, it just gave me the warm fuzzies when I was reading about it.
Reportedly buses coming from Devil's Lake to Grand Forks, I think is where it is. Buses. I heard in the media room up to 400 people specifically coming for Grant.
That makes me very happy.
Yeah, and he said, I asked him if he felt pressure, and he was like, oh, these guys have seen me play all the time up there, so no. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But let's get to the actual, maybe what's the point here. It's going to be a lot of fun. You're going to win. The 20-24 points, you're probably going to clear that, honestly.
Yeah, I would think so.
It's probably going to be about 30, 34, 33 is what I would guess, 40-point margin. Coach talked about these last 3 games. You're playing North Dakota. You get a couple days break. Then you have, Kent State and South Dakota State at home to close out the calendar year. Coach basically said, you played the hard 7-game stretch. You're 5-2. Pretty good little record. Things to work on: turnovers, offensive rebound issues, shot selection, pace, those kind of things. Maybe defending the pick and roll could be right up there for things to work on. And so Coach said, can we work on these things against these 3 inferior opponents? You look at South Dakota State. You look at Kent State. I believe I averaged all 3 of them out with North Dakota, and it was 180 in Ken Pom. Now, granted, North Dakota slides it way down. I think Kent State and South Dakota State are in the 110s. So they're not going to be that bad, really. They're going to be decent competition, at least for their level. The other thing, those 5 issues: turnovers, giving up offensive rebounds, shot selection, pace, those are kind of, and defending the pick and roll. Those are kind of obvious on the court issues. Strategically, though, and Coach talked about this as well. He said these 3 games are about trimming the rotation for SEC play, getting the right guys. Who's going to play the most minutes? Are you going to be a 4-minute-a-game guy to give an actual player a break, or are you going to be in the rotation or not?
Yeah, this is where we'll find out how much Aiden Terrell will play the rest of the season.
Yes,
I think. But that's exactly right, and I think also even before they went 5-2 on this stretch, you're looking at the schedule ahead of the season. That was a very difficult 7-game stretch. I think you can kind of look at it this way, whereas yes, they say they went 5-2, like they did say they had won all 7, whatever. You get 3 games to kind of take it easy for a little bit right before you get into league play and to really tune everything up right before you get into the meat of the schedule. Or you look at it, had they performed poorly in those 3 or those 7 games, you get 3 gimme games to get your confidence back up before conference play. So I think it was a very strategic scheduling of these 3 right after this very hard stretch for Alabama, for Nate Oates to do this. And I would like to see this the rotation just get cleaned up a little bit, ever so much. And really, the biggest thing I just want to see is, and we've talked about it every game, a full 40 minutes. Just play the full 40 minutes at 100%.
How long do you think it'll take for Chris Youngblood to take that 1 of 5 into a 3 or 4 of 5 night?
I hope he gets going tonight. Let's see. I could see it happening tonight. I think maybe he comes out.
Is he gonna heat up that cold gym?
He might just do it. He might bring some fire to North Dakota.
Oh, they said it's gonna be 5 degrees.
You think Chris Youngblood? What's the coldest he's from South Florida, isn't he?
No, Youngblood's from Tuscaloosa.
Oh, he is
From Tuscaloosa.
I did not know that. He went to USF.
Yeah.
Okay.
He moved out of Tuscaloosa in like 6th, 7th, 8th grade.
Okay.
Went to Kennesaw State, then to USF. So he didn't go to school here like high school age.
He's never experienced anything like that though. Very few players on this team have.
No,
I'm sure.
We asked Grant, "What'd you tell him?" And he said, "Bring a jacket." Like, you fool! Bring a jacket.
Mark Sears is gonna show up with like a hoodie, like a little Nike zip up hoodie, and he
bring a jacket. Take it. Like, you fool! Like, you better be having long johns. You better give me the thermal top.
Grant Nelson is pulling out his flannel line jeans. He's got his Canada Goose coat, maybe.
Grant's probably just like in shorts.
Oh, yeah,
because
he's used to
hardened, battle hardened. Everybody else is just going to be like Eskimos.
Man, this game just makes me so happy. I can't really. It's just such a cool thing to do for your guy, for Grant. Give him the opportunity to play in front of his family. I love this so much. I'm very, very happy about this game.
Maybe incentive to others. Hey, come here. You stick around. We'll schedule a game as close as we can.
Yeah.
I love it. It's a very softball philosophy. Patrick Murphy has done this very, very regularly, as best he can for his softball seniors. And one of the Alabama Hoops Twitter pages put out that this is very Dean Smith-esque as well. A former North Carolina basketball coach, used to try to schedule games for his seniors in their area, in their hometown areas. Look, I know the schedule, Coach Oates. Let's schedule freaking the New York Knicks, the Chicago Bulls, and the Boston Celtics.
I think if they offered him that, he'd take it.
Yeah, right. The Dream Team. Let's play Team USA every game, right? Just like the big buzzsaw. But every now and then, I think like if you're going to play a lesser competition, you may as well make it cool.
Yes, exactly. It's not feasible really to have every single non-conference game be against a top 25, top 30 team. So you're going to inevitably have a few, a handful that are against some lesser competition. So yeah, make the most of them. Do something fun for your guys. And I love it so much. Grant Nelson, in a, relatively short time compared to, other players, I guess, in Alabama lore, he's really made himself a part of the team, I think, and really ingratiated himself to Tuscaloosa.
Let's finish with this, Mason Woods, because I have been in a very myopic mode with basketball, just looking at Alabama and who they're playing, who's the next team on Alabama's radar, who have they played, who have they beat. As I was getting ready for today, because I wrote the cover for today, basically for BamaCentral, basically espousing Coach Oates' comments that, hey, these next couple of games are about trimming the rotation. These next couple of games are about improving, even though you're playing lesser competition. And he said, we got to get ready for SEC play. And he said, as I'm listening back to the press conference yesterday, because the SEC looks like it might be the greatest SEC of all time. And I'm nodding my head, just because, of course, and I had known that it's tough. It's good. But look at this dadgum AP poll. And I don't love polls, but look at this poll. Tennessee, number 1, 10-0. Auburn, number 2, 9-1. Kentucky, number 4, 10-1. Alabama 6, Florida 7. Oh, that's as of rankings that really said, yeah, that's as of a couple days ago. Yeah, Alabama 6, Florida 7, right there. So that's 4. Did I count 4 or 5? That's 5. 5 teams in the top 10.
Did you see the SEC's record in the month of December?
Give it to me.
50-4.
Texas A&M 12. Oklahoma 14. Here we go. Ole Miss 17. Chris Beard, you turd.
This is the best basketball conference in the country by a fairly wide margin.
Others receiving votes. Mississippi State is at 26. Arkansas is at 27. Missouri is at 28. Baylor 29, 30. Where's my next SEC squad? Georgia has 18 votes, so they're further down. That's in the 30s in others receiving votes. And Texas. Texas comes in with 3 votes as well. So how many deadgum teams is that? Mississippi State, Arkansas, Missouri, Georgia, and Texas. That's 5 outside. They're in the other series, so call that 5. 5. Ole Miss 6. Oklahoma 7, A&M 8, and then plus the 5 that we had, 8 and 5 is 13 of the 16 teams are in the top basically 30, 35 teams in America.
Yeah, that's preposterous. You know, as you were doing, I was looking at KenPom too. Yeah, it's the same thing. 13 teams in the top 50 KenPom rankings in the SEC. This is unheard of. I have not dug into every previous season of college basketball to see what the ACC did with the Big Ten, Big East, whoever did, but just in my lifetime, I don't recall ever one conference being this dominant through this part of the season. I mean, we're a month in.
This is a joke, Mason. Is it? No, I'm going to stop you because this is a joke. You're going to load up the greatest Alabama basketball roster of all time, talent-wise. We don't know what they're going to do. But on paper, 1 through 12, because we left the 13 scholarship open because they were just so dadgum talented you couldn't fill it. You're going to have the greatest collection of talent in Tuscaloosa. Oh, and on that year, the rest of the league is all just, super team Tennessee, super team Auburn. Oh, look at Kentucky. We are Kentucky again now that we got rid of old man Calipari.
It'll just mean that much more if you win it.
The fate, the basketball gods, they laugh. They laugh at us. They said, here's your Final Four. And now we'll just ramp up they went into the settings, and they went over difficulty, and they went into, like, average, and they went into boom, hard to what's it? Extreme.
Oh man, this is it's fun from a perspective of just liking college basketball, and I have always had disdain for the attitude of the northeastern part of the country and how they feel that, we're just better at basketball than everybody else because the tide has started to change. The South got something to say. The South is here, and the SEC is college basketball's strongest conference. It is the best conference in the country by a wide margin. And I challenge any team anywhere to play any SEC team, 1 through 16.
Yeah. Terrible. Really, really difficult. So we'll get excited.
Unfortunate for Alabama.
About covering the SEC season as it unfolds. I think it's January 4 is the first game against Oklahoma. 8th, the 4th.
January 4th.
Yeah, there you go. Against the Oklahoma Sooners. We'll see Porter Moser bring his squad into Tuscaloosa, right? It's a home game. There we go. So that'll be a lot of fun. We cannot wait for it. We're going to get out of here for the day as Abby's getting a little antsy, and I'm sure you are as well. We're going to go have a lot of fun. We're actually going to hear from Kane Womack. We're going to hear from Nick Sheridan. We're going to hear from the man himself, Kalen DeBoer, about bowl practice. ReliaQuest Bowl Prep continues today in the Hank Crisp Indoor Facility, and we'll be all over it with BamaCentral and BamaCentral.com. So I've got to get out of here for the day. We appreciate everybody who's followed my friend Mason Woods and all his recruiting coverage at MAWoods_ on the Twitter machine. You follow me at Joe Gaither 6. You use Derek Daniels State Farm for all your insurance needs. And when your roof has a leak or if you have a worry, you call Purple Turtle Roofing right here in Tuscaloosa. We'll get out of here for the day, and we'll talk to you again tomorrow right here on the Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral and BamaCentral.com.